hear people say all the time. You can't decide when creativity strikes, but you can set up a true opportunity for it. Give the song an opportunity to be written.
Shane McAnally is a Nashville songwriting legend with over 40 #1 hit songs, 3 Grammy Awards, and 2 Songwriter of the Year awards from the Country Music Association. In this studio deep dive, Shane pulls back the curtain and shows us 7 specific techniques that he uses to consistently come up with hit song ideas. Number 6 is so important, and it's really the thin line between songs that can soar to the top of the charts or songs that are confined to the forgotten pages of our notebooks. So let's dive in with Shane.
You know, I've got the guitar sitting here, the computer sitting here. These things seem pretty obvious, but when I really start thinking about this room, this table here, you know, a table is a great metaphor for a relationship. The foundation of is it's sturdy. And one of the things that really sticks out about the room I'm in is that it's windowless. And that starts to stir something in me. You know, a room with no windows, for one, is not something I've heard before. That's how my brain starts to really pull apart an idea. When you're talking about something like a room with no windows or doors, it does start to feel like you're trapped. And maybe you're trapped in a relationship. Maybe you're trapped in not being able to find a relationship. So the point of this is I've looked around the room, I've looked at the basics, the table, the walls, the floors, the ceilings, and thought, how does that start to create a feeling? That's sort of the point of creating music, is taking these everyday mundane things that we all see around us and projecting a feeling on them.
There are a couple of ideas that are really important to highlight right now. The first is that Shane is thinking metaphorically. He's looking around at the objects in his room, but he's immediately connecting them as symbols for common, universal human emotions and experiences. The other really important thing we see Shane doing is immediately looking through the lens of relationship. While these things might be symbols of human feelings, he's not just thinking about individual feelings outside of the context of a relationship, he's immediately applying it to a relationship. So it's not just being trapped inside one's own head or emotions, it's being trapped inside a relationship or being trapped outside of a relationship.
I do take notice of my surroundings. It might be something that I heard the night before on the news, in a movie. It might be a conversation I had 2 days before. But what I do is try to listen to the things around me, listen to people talking, take in the environment. If it's a melody, if it's a cadence, if it's something that I feel like I can't get across by just typing on my phone, I'll make a voice memo. I've kept, a running note list in my phone, and I look at it all the time. It looks different every day too. What's funny is a lot of these ideas, when I just scroll and I can just see, months and years of things I've just put in there. And maybe I'll just roll it like a wheel and then just stop. And I'll see titles that I've seen for years, or lines that look differently all of a sudden because of whatever situation I'm in. And then some of them make me laugh because I have no idea what I was thinking when I put it in there. It depends on the mood, and tomorrow it could read very differently. I'll read something right here that is a little embarrassing actually, because it seems so silly and I have no idea what it means, but I'm so used to looking at these and going, boy, what was on my mind then? This says, I do the right thing, ... who cares? Then it says, I work out, who cares? I have no idea what that's supposed to mean.
Let's just take quick note of the fact that Shane captures all of his ideas. He doesn't have them and let them go or assume that if it's good enough, he'll remember it later. He puts them in his phone immediately. Having a reference file like this is so important to professional songwriters who write every day. Firstly, it completely eliminates the very idea of writer's block. Secondly, it's an immediate source of inspiration. You open it on any day and kickstart the songwriting process. The other really important thing about a reference file like this is that it recontextualizes your notes from the original source. And what we can see from Shane is that that provides a real source of creative inspiration. The other really important idea here is to revisit your notes regularly, because a note that you took last month might not strike a chord this week, but look at it again in a month and it might speak directly to the heart of what you're thinking and feeling.
Basically just showing you that spinning through these notes, I never know where it's going to land or what's going to spark my brain that day. I was writing a song with Ashley McBride called One Night Standards. The song before that was actually called, before it had its hook, it was called Airport Hotel. And it was about the things that go on in an airport hotel. One of the settings was the possibility of meeting someone in the bar downstairs and you're both away from your significant other in a town where nobody knows you and you can do whatever you want. And in this situation, we were writing a song about a one-night stand, which is not that uncommon to write about in country music. So Ashley said at one point, boy, this is a real one-night stander. Like, this sounds like a real one-night stander. I thought she said one-night standard, which in her sentence didn't make any sense. But in mishearing her, I leaned into that and I said, it sounded like you said one-night standard. And we knew that was the hook. What does that mean? I don't know, but it's gonna be an incredible way to make people go, what did they just say? I really pay attention when I go, what did they say? Because the most interesting thing to me is what did I think they said? Because my brain is going to filter it in a way that it might be a totally different idea. And so I really encourage you to not be so worried about the details of what is going on around you, but what might have been said. That is, for me, probably the number one place I get ideas is mishearing people. My little girl said something yesterday that I put in here. It's really funny to me that she didn't realize what she was saying. So she was spelling out the word funky, and she's 9 years old. So she clearly didn't get that there was a play on words, even if irreverent, in the spelling of the word funky. She was going F-U-N-K-Y, F-U-N-K-Y. So I was hearing F-U at first. The irreverence of that and the sort of shock of that the first two letters of the word funky say F-U, and the kind of emotion that sparks, whether it's fun or dirty, what it does do is it makes you take notice. And a hook for a song needs to make you take notice. There are other ways to do that. There are other words that have words or phrases inside of them. What is right after it is the line, left to my own vices. So what I've done is just taken the old adage, left to my own devices. What's funny is that as I'm scrolling through, I see another one of those words within a word that does the same thing. I have no idea where this came from, but clearly I love to take words and pull them apart. And this says, she left her yes in yesterday.
Numbers 3 and 4 are about wordplay, which is so Nashville. But hopefully what you can see is that it's about so much more than just cleverness with words. It's really about shifting perspective. It's about taking something familiar and looking at it in an unfamiliar way. It's about letting new light and new colour spill into something when you take it and shake it up and crack it open a little bit.
There's a line on here that is intriguing to me among all these happy lines, and the line is bed of my own making, something that I've heard all my life in movies. My mom has said it before, sort of like the consequences of your own doing. But the bed of my own making is a strange way of saying that. And where my brain goes instantly when I read a line like bed of my own making is what else does that? What other line does that same thing in a different way? And instantly when I saw the line, bed of my own making, my brain said, heart of my own breaking. And I guess those are the things that make me a songwriter. I'm not sure everyone in the world instantly thinks in rhyme. Sometimes to a fault, I think in rhymes. I think they can corner me. But in this particular instance, hearing that whisper, heart of my own breaking, feels really important, because then you start to see a pattern.
Shane is thinking in terms of patterns here, but there's really two different patterns that are happening at the same time. One type of pattern is the structure and syntax of the line, bed of my own making, heart of my own breaking. The sentence is structured in the same way. But the other really important pattern here is the pattern of the idea. He's looking for those two matching phrases to be connected through their idea. And the connection between those two ideas is that I did it to myself.
You know, I wrote this song called American Kids that Kenny Chesney recorded, and basically what happened with that song was I was doing the same idea, just rolling through my phone looking at ideas. And every time that I would look at a title, what I thought was a title, it was like T-Top, Cherry Coat, Baptist Church. I just thought these were all really cool titles, and I had listed them out. But when I started to type them and say, is this a title? Is this a title? What I realized what they were doing and showing me was they were actually a song. The list of titles was a song. And you never know, what is going to happen when you start just putting it down, just putting it on paper. And maybe that means you take a pen to paper. For me, it's better if I type because I can't read my writing. And I think that just having the organizational of it is taking action that seems like it's hard to just spark creativity. I hear people say all the time, you can't decide when creativity strikes. And maybe that's true, but you can set up a true opportunity for it. You can open the window and invite it in. And I think by just collecting the data, by collecting ideas and titles, you start to give the song an opportunity to be written.
In strategy 6, we see Shane doing something so simple but so powerful. Instead of thinking of these ideas as separate song ideas, he's putting them all on the same document with the explicit intention of letting them cross-pollinate with each other, seeing if these different ideas actually speak to each other and what might emerge out of the unexpected connections that happen when you put them all on the same page.
That particular left to my own vices line is something else I could list over here with A House with No Windows, and sort of keep a running tally of ideas that might start to cook on their own. So I feel like what's going on with me right now, looking at these titles, looking at these ideas and talking through them with you, the thing that is speaking to me the most is the bed of my own making, heart of my own breaking. My brain is already going into the rhyme world. And I don't like to be cornered in by rhymes. I also think rhymes can compromise the heart of something if you're rhyming just for the sake of it. But what it does do is gives me a springboard. Because if you take all the words in, I'll say the English language because I speak English, that's way too big of a pool to pull from. And so if I know that the phrases are ending with bed of my own making, heart of my own breaking, at least I can filter it, make it a little smaller pool to take words out of, and I can say something like the blank of my own taking, the world of my own waking. That doesn't even make sense, but what it does do is start to give me a smaller list of words and phrases to choose from, where it's not just a wide open world of, 10,000 words you can pick from anything. So for me, rhymes helped to start creating a space and limitations. And I do think that the limitations come from the fact that these words have a certain cadence, they have a certain rhyme scheme, and it would be like picking from a box of 10,000 nails, the perfect nail, and saying any of these would work. But if you just say, well, I just want the nails that are 1 inch long, that would be the same as like the rhyming. So then you would take all the ones that are 1 inch long. Now you just have 100 to choose from. It doesn't feel as overwhelming. And it doesn't mean that later we can't reach in there and pick one of the bigger or smaller nails. It just means that we start to build the house with these 1 inch nails that are more contained. We have less to choose from, so it can start to take shape.
Strategy number 7 is an important shift in the process here. This is the moment where Shane is really taking stock of the cream of the crop and deciding which one is going to be the doorway he's going to walk through today. There are 3 really important ways that you as a songwriter can take Shane's process and put it into action today. Number 1, catch all of your song ideas. Put them in a scrolling notes app or record them as voice memos, making sure to title them as appropriate. Number 2, when you're sitting down to write a song, don't just go with the first idea that jumps out at you. Actually scroll through your ideas and pick out a handful and put them together on the same page and give them a chance to connect in interesting and original ways. Number 3 is to pick an idea and follow it through. If you're ready to turn your ideas into songs, check out Ryan Tedder's tutorial on crafting catchy melodies that hook listeners in. Happy writing, guys. See you soon.